Hey, this is Steve Goldberg. I'm the author of A Better Camera for X-Plane, and I'm going to be demonstrating the latest build that I have for 1.7.6, which will be coming out soon. I want to warn everyone that the recording is very slow because there's a lot of lag because I'm on a Mac, and for whatever reason, screen recording on Mac doesn't do the simulator justice, so forgive me. This is not a reflection of my plugins performance, just my Mac. Anyway, so I want to show this cool feature called Auto-FOV. It's on by default, and what it does, I won't let you read it yet. What it does is it basically doesn't change your FOV, your field of view, but it actually automatically adjusts saved camera views so that they load correctly for the current field of view. So we start with 90, which just is what I happen to use on my setup. The default is 65. It used to be 60. And I'm just going to hit a couple of my numpad keys, and you'll see here's my numpad 2, my numpad 3, 4. This is just what I do. I have zoom in mind, so that's sometimes a little bit of a problem for the way the cockpit zoom works in X-Plane. But anyway, those are my views, right? And there's also default views, so you can hold down the modifier key and actually bring up default views that'll work in any plane. This is another feature of this entire series of changes. By the way, that yellow thing is just a reflection of what I'm typing, what keyboard shortcuts I'm hitting so that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that slow lag is just awful. Anyway, so here's the moment of truth. We're looking at this view. Actually, let me turn it off first and just show you what happens normally. So with the feature disabled, this is what you normally get in X-Plane if you change, let's say I just reset it to 65, and I say done here. So now the camera automatically resets to 65. It happens that it still recognizes this as quick view number 1, but I'll go to quick view number 2, and you notice right away that you can no longer see everything because the field of view is so narrow that I would have to zoom out, but I'm already zoomed out. Actually, I'm not. So I can zoom out a little bit to get a little bit better, but I can also move backwards to get more of the view, but I would have to resave this view. And this is the key feature that I think is just a killer feature in ABC. You no longer have to do this. You don't have to resave your views. Okay, so we'll do another example. 8 here. This is my overhead view. You can't see any of the buttons on the bottom half. Even going back to 1, it's not quite my view as I have it. And just to make matters worse, let's go down to 45, which is the 1-to-1 ratio that some people actually like, and I understand why. More for exterior views, but whatever, let's just use it for interior. So I'm going to hit numpad 1 again. Oh, I was already at numpad 1, so I went back to 8. So here we are at 8. There's my overhead view. Look at that. It's useless. And here's 1, a little bit worse because I don't have some of the context. If I do 2, that's what I get. I don't even get the 2 CDUs. This is my 4, etc. Here's, I didn't show this one, but here's 0, which is my EFB or whatever you want to call it. So now I'm going to just, at 45, I'm simply going to turn the feature on. And now I'm going to hit numpad 0 again to go back to the EFB, for example. Now this is actually almost identical to what this view looks like at 90. And you'll notice down here, ABC reflects back which view you've loaded. This is my numpad 0, which is number 10. So it's ACF quick view number 10, and it shows it as having been recorded at 90 degrees, but currently reflected back at 45, which is the current field of view. And let's go back to number 1. Here's my, oh, it's slow. It's not this slow normally, trust me. But this is my number 1 view, much better. Not quite as much context around the outside edges, but it's still pretty good. My number 2 view, look at that. Both CDUs are still visible. You can still click on them. 3 is just this like engine start view that I have, which it did cut off. If I hide the status bar, these 2 engine switches should be in the view. They're a little cut off. It's not perfect, by the way. This is just an automated thing. It's not, I'm not manually programming this. This isn't my saved version of the 45 degree FOV. No, this is my 90 degree saved quick view or quick look. I saved this in X-Plane as a quick look. Then I just installed ABC, and this is what you get at a lower FOV than what it was memorized at. If I set this to 65, let's go back to reset field of view. That's a bug in X-Plane. There we go. Now you have to hit the numpad key again. So if I hit 3 again, it adjusts the camera. This time you do see the 2 engine switches. It didn't zoom in as much, but it is pretty much the same view. Here's my CDUs. A little bit further away. You know, it's all a factor also of how far within the range you go. Because, like, let's say instead of 65, I was at 60. It would make it actually worse, but whatever. No, it's better. That's right. Yeah. So this is, a lot of people are at 60 because that's what the old default was. So right now, this is what my algorithm will do with a 90-degree FOV shown at 60. Right. We'll go to 8. My overhead view, it is cutting off the very bottom, but otherwise it's pretty good. I didn't show these before, but this is the back looking over the wing from inside the window. It's actually pretty much the same view as my other one. We'll go back to the cockpit here. This is my looking straight ahead view, my sort of center console view, somewhat. Another center console view that's straight on, showing like whatever the radios. Well, in this case, you can't quite see the radios. They're right there. But a lot of that has to do with the inaccuracy of handling zoom in X-Plane, because X-Plane doesn't give plugins a way to set the zoom properly. But let's actually let's go back to 90 just real quick so you can see that view again. Let's do this one, the CDU view. That's it. Here's 0, number 10, my EFB view. And then what I'll do is just go forward now to a higher FOV. Let's say, I don't know, 103. I used to run at 103 a lot. I don't know why, on my bigger monitor. So I hit numpad 1. Oh, that's a toggle because it thought it was at numpad 1. So here we are back at the EFB, almost identical. Now, I don't know if you realize how amazing this is, because think about it. That's the view. If I turn this mode off and I hit, I'm going to have to toggle away and then come back, hit numpad 1, you feel like you're at the top of looking down a barrel, right? And then 8, like, it's just too far away. Everything's looks too far away. It's more skewed, right? So, and this is only one level further away. If I go further than this, like up to, I haven't tested the specific numbers within the ranges because I'm doing this at certain quanta, so it won't do as good of a job, you know, depending on where you are within that range. But let's go back to that view there. So then if I go back here and I hit, oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's turn back on the feature in ABC. All right, and now we'll just hit numpad 0, and there we go. The zoom takes a second to adjust because the X-Plane doesn't give me zoom, so that's a hack. This is almost the same again as it was at the lower FOV at like 45. It's almost the identical view, yet if I actually zoom all the way out, you'll see this is where the camera, and actually I think the actual camera position is like back here a little bit as to what I memorized. So if I go from this and I just switch the camera back to 90, I'm just guessing, but let's just say that's it. Yeah, I was even not zoomed in enough. I forgot about the zoom. So it changes the zoom, it changes the camera position, and it doesn't change the camera angles, and it could. So actually, if we go to my number 7 view, this just shows you, I'm going to back up manually here. You see we were at the window. We were just inside the bevel of the window. So you can't quite see the borders of the window. But if I take the zoom out, you can see where we really are. We're actually still a good foot from the window. But we're zoomed in to frame the view. And that's what, if you notice when you go back to 45 or even 60, and we hit numpad 9 again, now you can see the outside outline of the window, because what ABC does in this scenario is take the zoom out first. This display lets you check out what the zoom is. It's 1.8. The actual zoom's a little over 2, I think. So it takes out the zoom for depending on how far of a different FOV it is, and then moves the camera back if it's at a lower FOV, and it moves it forward if it's at a higher FOV, towards whatever thing the aim point that I'm imagining you're looking at. I have to guess this algorithmically or heuristically. So this is a good example. I'm looking down at more than a 45-degree angle down at this part of the console, and then it's close to 90 even. And so what ABC will do is, if I set this to be 45, for example, it'll, did I turn it? Oh yeah, I have to hit it again. Hit numpad 2, and ABC will move the camera back and zoom out. So if you check out the zoom, well, I don't think this one was ever zoomed. But if we go back to number 7, for example, you see it zoomed out even more. It didn't zoom out all the way because it's trying to use a combination of zoom and moving the camera. Because if it moves the camera too much, then it doesn't look right. You might hit an obstacle within the aircraft. Now, this looks really good with a large aircraft, but we could try it with a smaller aircraft. In fact, I'll just leave it in this mode. Let's see where. Oh yeah, I was looking at that. Well, it's not going to work, but I'll just leave it here. Let's say track next. So I just go to this next AI aircraft. I'm just going through the various AI aircraft. Oh, this is frustrating because the stupid X-plane AI aircraft put the pilots. It won't take the pilots out of the views. So let's go back to 90 just so you can see what it should look like. So this is actually loading the numpad views for this citation. If I hit numpad 1, this is actually where my camera view would be if this were my user plane. X-plane doesn't do this for you, but ABC does. So if I hit numpad 1, I get the view from that aircraft. Numpad 2 gives me the CDU from that aircraft. And if I go over here and I hit 40, let's do 45 degrees, why not? Doesn't have to be exact. And now I hit numpad 2 again. So this is the modified version of numpad 2. And by the way, there's also the global versions of all these views, which give you not quite as good because they're not customized for a given aircraft. Different standard views that you can change and have those be your standard views for any aircraft. So that's it for the demo. I just wanted to explain that. It's pretty cool. Oh, let's just do one more large one. So let's do 130. I'm not even sure if that's a good number. Might be too much. If we hit numpad 1, you see what it did? It moved closer, zoomed out. Again, we got a pretty reasonable CDU display there using zoom to get closer. There's not an overhead in this one, but it does zoom in. The EFB view. Oh, this isn't the EFB because this is a different aircraft. So let's do modifier 0, which is my generic EFB view. It's not very good, but you can always modify it. And by the way, once you've put the camera at a particular angle in ABC, you can toggle back to the exterior view and back in again, and ABC will dutifully restore the view. And not only that, but you can switch between different aircraft, and you notice that it's preserving the view relative to the aircraft, which is quite a phenomenal feat. X-plane does not do this either. So it actually recalculates where the camera should be based on the pilot's default head position and the size of the aircraft, and magic happens. And the last thing to mention is for exterior views. So I didn't show you this. Let's go back to my main one. If I do numpad 7 with the modifier key down, that's an exterior view. It is also being scaled. So these two views. So if I switch this back to, let's say 65, now it's going to be scaled down instead of up. That's basically the same view. They're never going to be identical for lots of reasons, right? Again, mainly because the range of each band that I do stupid X-plane, each band that I do the modifications at, hitting tab doesn't work, so it's really bad. Those bands are 20 or so degrees wide, and so I'm going to get more granular over time. This is just a demo, but I don't know why I did that. I wanted to go back to numpad 7. That didn't necessarily do it. I want to do modifier numpad 7 and modifier numpad 9 to get you the global views. And that's what they look like. So it does scale both exterior and interior views based on your FOV. And it also scales the default views for a given view mode. So if you go to reset the ride along view, that will be a different position based on the size, your FOV setting. So if I set this to 120 and I hit the same, do a reset view, it'll come closer. I have to tune this one because I want to put more zoom and less moving of the camera. But that's just a matter of me sitting down and experimenting and trying to fine tune all those values. And that's it. That's the demo. Thanks for watching. This is going to be a great feature because you don't have to do anything at all. You just get it for free. So you can turn it off if you want to in settings. Just type in Auto-FOV and you can uncheck it, turn it off, but I don't think you need to. It's because it's going to work great. And you can always rememorize the views if you wanted a different FOV, but I only allow you to have one set for now. At some point in the future, I'll probably allow you to define different versions of your saved views for different FOVs. Okay, thanks. See ya.